The purpose of this recording is to provide SAMHSA grantees a brief overview of the Terms and Conditions module in ERA Commons, and how to respond to track terms and conditions, as stated in the Notice of Award. SAMHSA grantees are subject to the terms and conditions that are listed in the Notice of Award. Some of those terms and conditions will be tracked and set up in the ERA Commons system, with scheduled tasks and due dates. Grantees are required to submit documentation by those due dates, through the ERA Commons Terms Tracking System, to satisfy the track terms and conditions placed on the grant award. Note: terms or conditions that are not tracked will show a status of not tracked in ERA Commons. This recording will walk you through the process of how to access the View Terms Tracking Details page, how to identify which terms are tracked, and the associated due dates, how to upload and submit documentation, how to submit revised documentation for return submissions, how to access the View Terms Tracking Details page. To log into ERA Commons, go to public.era.nih.gov/commons. This will bring you to the ERA Commons login screen. On the left-hand side of the screen, enter your credentials, then click Login. In order to access the View Terms Tracking Details page, via ERA Commons, grantees need to be the project director of the grant, with the principal investigator, PI, role, or assigning official, SO, of the grantee organization, with the SO role. For project directors, click the status tile located on the left side of the ERA Commons homepage. Then click List of Applications/Awards, to view a list of the grants for which you are the assigned PD. Once you have located the grant, click the grant number to expand the grant information section. Then click the View Terms Tracking button, to be taken to the View Terms Tracking Details page. For signing officials, click the status tile. Enter the grant identification search criteria, such as grant serial number. Then click Search. Once you have located the grant, click the three-dot ellipses icon, located next to the grant number, to expand the action drop-down options. Then click View Terms Tracking Action, to be taken to the View Terms Tracking Details page. How to identify which terms are tracked, and the associated due dates. The View Terms Tracking Details page consists of two sections. The top of the page contains overview information about the grant, including your assigned SAMHSA Grant Specialist, GMS, and Program Official, PO. The bottom half of the page displays information about the terms and conditions placed on your grant award. Terms and conditions are filtered based on the budget period to which they apply. Grantees can select different budget period tabs to view the terms and conditions applied to each budget period. Note: when a budget period ends, it is recommended to check prior budget periods for any unresolved terms, as they are still applicable and require a submission. Ensure you are viewing the correct tab, with the budget period matching the term to which you are responding. Click on the triangle icon, to expand the term name and term content. Below the term content, the task description will be listed with the corresponding due date. View the next due date status column, to determine the overall status of the term or condition. A track term means you are required to submit requested information, via the View Terms Tracking Details page, by a due date. Status options are: not tracked. A status of not tracked means the term is not set up to receive submissions. Consult the full term contents to determine if submission is required elsewhere. Unresolved. The tracked term has not yet been resolved by SAMHSA staff, either because you have not submitted documentation, SAMHSA has not begun to review your submission, or your submission was returned, to allow for additional documentation. In review. SAMHSA staff are reviewing your documentation for the tracked term. Resolved. Your submitted documentation satisfied the term or condition, and SAMHSA staff have marked it resolved. Archived, unresolved. The tracked term has not yet been marked as resolved by SAMHSA staff, and the budget period during which a response was due, has expired. Closed. The task has been closed. No further changes or submissions to the task are allowed or required, but this does not mean the task was resolved. How to upload and submit documentation to SAMHSA, in response to tracked terms. In order to submit documentation in response to a track term or condition, click on the triangle icon to expand a term. Then click the three-dot ellipsis icon and select Prepare Documentation. Click the Browse button to attach up to 10 files. Accepted file types are GIF, JPEG, BMP, PNG, DocX, XLSX, PPTX, MSG, and PDF. Note that files cannot be larger than 6 MB. Click the Preview button to view all attachments, or click the Download button to view individual attachments. After uploading the files, use the comment box to enter comments if necessary, then click Submit to send the documentation to SAMHSA. The documentation is not accessible to SAMHSA staff until the Submit button is clicked. Simply uploading the files does not complete the action. The submission status for the task description will be updated to reflect submitted status. How to submit revised documentation for return submissions. After SAMHSA reviews the documentation submitted by a grantee, if additional or revised documentation is required, the submission status for the task description will reflect return status. Grantees will receive an email that the term or condition is not resolved, and will be required to log in to ERA Commons to submit additional or revised materials. In order to submit revised documentation, click the three-dot ellipsis icon and select Revise Documentation. Click the Browse button to attach the additional materials. Then click Submit to send the additional materials to SAMHSA. Resources. If you need additional assistance, you can contact your assigned Grants Management Specialist, GMS, for budget and grant-specific questions. You can contact your assigned Grants Project Officer, GPO, for program-related questions. And for technical questions, contact the ERA Service Desk. This concludes this tutorial video on showing SAMHSA grantees how to respond to SAMHSA Grant Award Terms and Conditions in ERA Commons. Thank you for watching.